This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, it looks like it's 7 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get started. If you would, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. We do have a quorum present. We have all members of the Planning Commission other than Nathan Cowan present tonight. As always, reminder, whenever you're speaking, please be sure your microphone is on. We need to adopt the agenda, which wonderfully is nice and short tonight. Do we? Jinxed it. Yeah.
I make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. As always, is there any general public comment before we start tonight? Okay, thank you. For our new business, we do need to adopt the minutes from the June 18th meeting, so let's take a quick look through those. All right, does anyone see anything we need to modify or correct?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
All right, the motion has been made and seconded to accept the minutes as presented. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. All right, we have one case tonight. It's case number ZOA-06-04-2025-2. This is a zoning ordinance amendment. Madison County Code of Ordinances, Appendix 1 zoning, Appendix A, site plan ordinance, and the Madison County Code of Ordinances, Appendix 2. Subdivision ordinance require amendment to comply with Senate Bill 974. And Mr. Nichols, I think that's your cue.
All right, very good. Okay, so these ordinance amendments come as a result of the passage of SB 974 and at the direction of the Board of Supervisors. In your packet, you had all of the proposed changes. In a nutshell, it puts approving authority for site plans and subdivisions in the hands of a designated agent and away from the Planning Commission or governing body. We've gone through the existing ordinances for site plans and subdivisions and have made sure that our language aligns with the state code provisions. There were a couple of very minor changes that happened between when the packet was published for everyone to read and now, and so I would like to bring them to your attention briefly. Let's start with site plan ordinance. A.5.1, the Board of Supervisors had remained as an approving authority, and we simply updated that line to designated agent. It was overlooked. And then 5.1.4, it was the same. Let's say there was a line that just needed to be corrected from Board of Supervisors to designated agent. Those were the only corrections that I can recall to the site plan ordinance. For subdivision, let me pull those up really quick. For subdivision ordinance 4-4-1. That wasn't 4-4-1, it was 4-3. Here we are, 4-1-3. Made my note wrong. There was a change for variations and exceptions, which also puts minor variations in the hands of the zoning administrator, and this does align with what the Virginia Code already said. And so this just lines us up there. Hannon presented this particular change, so I think we're in good shape there. Did I miss anything?
You didn't mention anything. I was just going to amplify it for him. And it intentionally says zoning administrator in this one instead of designated agent because that's what the code calls for. And then this gives the zoning administrator ability to make modifications and anything that somebody doesn't like, that Virginia Code statute allows them to appeal to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
So, Mr. Chairman, that's all that I have to add on this one.
Okay. We have any questions or discussion or comments at this point?
I got a little discussion about it.
Okay.
I'm still trying to make sure that I'm understanding this all correctly. So are we exactly saying that and I've made a couple phone calls and whatnot, and are we trying to say that the planning commission cannot be a part of any of the process from here, or are we just saying that they cannot be the authority to approve anything? Because the way that I understand it, the way that I've been explained to me is that only the designee or the designated agent can be the one to approve this, but the planning commission can still be a part of the process. So all this part that we've stricken out and we're taking the planning commission out of all this subdivision stuff, we can still be a part of it, but the only person that can approve it is the designee.
I suppose that's true. I think what the statute does is it basically relegates the planning commission to the sideline, unfortunately, for this approval process. And then what the General Assembly's also done is sped up the timelines for this, which I think it would make it impractical for planning commission to still be holding the same meetings and being able to try to abide by those timelines.
I would just like to add to that, Mr. Snyder, that it does take site plan and subdivision, those normal reviews that would happen here at the planning commission, does put that to designated agent. The rezoning, special use permits, things of that nature will still come to this body for review. So, yes, it is a change. It's unfortunate, but you still have input on other items. So it's still function for the planning commission. I do want to throw out there and not get too far off topic. I have reached out to VACO, so Madison has a voice. I would encourage, whether you want to work through the chairman of the planning commission or each of them individually, if you have concerns of this you would like for us to share with the working group that the General Assembly has assigned, please send those comments to Alan directly. We will get that to that work group. We have asked to be part of that work group or any steering committee they have. That does not fix the bill that was passed on and effective as of yesterday. But the General Assembly recognizes, I think they've heard enough voices that they've assigned a working group to bring forth any comments or maybe some changes they can make to the law at a future assembly session.
I happened to make a phone call to Nick Freitas to see what his opinion was on this, being he's the one that voted for us. And, well, and he made the comment that he wasn't really too enthused about, it wasn't really good for us and really not bad for us. It was kind of a mixed bag of worms, what he said was, which is, he's the one that clarified me that the planning commission does not have to go out of this. Because I was kind of trying to explain to him that I thought that it could be that this could be a burden to the localities if we only have one zoning administrator and one secretary to be doing all this. And he said, well, that's not what we're saying here. We're saying that the planning commission still can be a part of it, but only the designated agent can approve it. So I was just kind of looking at it in that light.
Yeah, I think the timelines is, I definitely don't want to extrapolate too much on Delegate Freitas's comment, but it's definitely the timeline that will be a constraint on that. Whether it was the General Assembly's intent or not to leave the planning commission involved or not, I think the kind of the death blow in my terms is the time, the response time. There would not be enough time for a applicant to submit, for it to be reviewed and commented, public hearings and all that held. We would push past the timeline that the code calls for. So it is
In
unfortunate.
my readings, we still have 60 days though, right? That's the way I'm reading it.
You have 60 days to act. You have 60 days to act.
After everything is submitted in accordance with the ordinance, there's still a 60-day period there, right?
There is.
Okay.
Am I correct? But there is no notice required anymore,
There is no notice required for a public hearing.
okay? And the 60-day period tolls as soon as you receive the application.
It does, except for if you are waiting for other agency responses, it can change the timeline, because if I have to get comments from VDOT, it would then allow you, I think it's 45 days to act after that, and the time period shrinks if you get revisions for each change that's offered in
Okay, then-
response from another agency.
Then the follow-up question is, what triggers the 60 days on our end? Does it have to be a complete application, which would mean that all the agencies would have done
That's
their
what we
work?
put in here. It was, it's not far
That's the
from
way
this
I
one.
read it, Jim.
For,
In fact, it pretty much specifies it in here when that timeline starts.
before this one. Pardon me, I got to get it where I can actually see it in front of me here.
I believe that's in 3.5. The timeline periods will not begin to run until
You know
an
what I'm looking
application
for.
fee is paid and a complete application is required by the designated agent submitted to the designated
That's
agent.
what it is. That's why I didn't see it.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but did we define what's a completed application?
We did. There we go. A511. For site plans, it is defined here. A511, right? Yeah. Shall be sent. Means that a completed application, site plan along with required fees proposed. I have a hard time reading it to the side. Means that a completed application for approval of a site plan along with the required fee and proposed site plan containing all of the information required by sections A6 and A7 set forth herein below have been received by the county. So, yes.
So that's all the health, all the VDOT.
What do you want to see?
Sorry.
Yeah.
A5121, if approval feature applied by state agency.
Yeah, we've got 5 days to get it to them. But
That's to get it to the review agencies such as VDOT and VDH.
correct, I
Yes.
can't sit on them.
Right.
But we don't sit on them now. Mhm. I can pull it out of the original bill faster. I can't ours. I want subdivisions anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, and the summary of the bill says subdivision ordinance, plan review by designated agent. It removes planning commission and governing body approval authority for the administrative review process for plats and plans and assigns such authority solely to a designated agent defined in the bill. However, the bill provides planning commission can serve as designated agent of a locality with a population of less than 5,000. And then bill also expedites the review process by shortening the time frame for forwarding plats and plans to state agencies for review. So, I mean, you're right, I think the planning commission could be, I guess, a consulting body along the way. But I think the intent of this was for the building lobby to try to take planning commission out of it. Site plan review is already a bit ministerial. As soon as somebody has everything that's required by the site plan ordinance, it's supposed to be approved without really any changes. So this, I think, more impacts the subdivision ordinance than it does the site plan ordinance, but happy to be debated about that.
So I guess I was just wondering why we were taking the planning commission out. You know, what I'm hearing now is because of a time frame.
I'm not sure in trying to conform to the state law that was part of the direction was to keep it. I mean, this is a proposed ordinance, right? I mean, y'all can recommend disapproval, so.
Well, once again, I'm just trying to understand it too, you know, I mean, just making sure all the facts were there.
We are, I think, not liking what the General Assembly's done, but we're saluting and carrying out the orders given. But there's probably more than one way to skin the cat, so that's why we're here, for that debate.
Well, one thing this essentially does is results in an increase in taxes at the locality level. Madison does not have impact fees and is not entitled to enact impact fees because we don't meet the statutory bar. In the past, we've been able to deal with these costs that were a burden on the citizens through the proffer system, and that happened in the hearing process of this committee as well as the Board of Supervisors. Now, the avenue for proffers is gone. There's no reason for a developer to offer a proffer to the designated agent. So if the action, and it's certainly not the designated agent's fault, would be outside his authority to demand something, because you can't demand proffers anyhow. But if, for example, a development would require significant infrastructure costs, and there were no ability to get a proffer, then what our delegate has voted for is a tax increase.
Sure.
Okay, good.
I'll also be happy to read a responding text from him. I asked a particular question, and he responded that there is nothing in this bill that prevents the Planning Commission from being a part of this process or assisting, but the authority to approve will now be vested in the agent. So that's the way I got to explain it.
May I offer a comment?
Sure.
So if somebody presents to us a subdivision application, and it meets the letter of our ordinance as it exists, it's simply a yes/no question at that point, is it not? And if it does not meet the letter of the ordinance, the answer is no. So,
I guess if you've determined that, yeah. I mean, but we've been through many of these. It seems to take a workshop or two to determine whether it meets.
okay.
I'm just throwing that out. That's my comment.
I mean, we were talking about proffers. I mean, unless we had an exceptionally large subdivision come our way, which probably we need to continue to work on with other ordinances, which are on our agenda now. I don't know, it seemed like a yes/no question. But anyway, that's all I had.
Any further question, discussion?
Yeah, I got
Yes,
a
Pete?
question, Mr. Wright. So explain to me so I understand, we can accept proffers if they're offered to us, or we cannot?
We can accept proffers if they're offered to us. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further question or discussion? Does anybody feel the urge to make a motion? Public comment, okay. No motions. Any public comment on this? This is what everybody's here for, right? Is there anybody online? Nobody online, thank you. In an altogether unsatisfactory situation, do we have any further comments? An altogether unsatisfactory situation.
So the way I see this, the board's gonna hire an agent to do this, and if that agent makes a few mistakes that the board don't like, then it's gonna be up to the board to take care of the problem. That's the way I see it. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that case number ZOA-06-04-2025.2 be recommended to the Board of Supervisors for approval.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, let's do by show of hands, I guess. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, unanimous then. Thank you. All right, since that was our single case on the public hearing, Mr. Nichols, do you have any upcoming previews for us here?
All right.
So upcoming cases. We have all the excitement coming up at the end of July. We've got the second workshop for Polly of the Blue Ridge. We've got some pretty extensive comments from the Health Department about this one coming up, so look forward to seeing that in your packet. That'll provide some clarity for future similar permits. Madison Hills events will also come up on for the second workshop. Let's see, we've got second workshop for Development Impact Ordinance coming up. We have the second workshop for 5-2-1, which is the livestock on parcels less than 2 acres for continued deliberation. We have received the application from Ida Alamy, which is the short-term rentals up in Banco. So we'll look forward to hearing the first workshop on that one. We have 3 tabled applications at the moment. Al Esch's zoning text amendment for the R3 ordinance, Full Life Journey Farm, which is Reggie Lipscomb, and Gerald Fuchs, who is the gentleman whose case triggered the livestock under 2 acres case. All three of those should be back on the agenda no later than September, but we'll see how it goes. And if we get any other cases, well, we didn't have PDRC yesterday, so there will be no new cases from PDRC. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, sir. In that case, once again, is there any public comments at this time? Okay. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
So moved. Any second? Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Excuse me, I'd like to call the Board of Supervisors portion of the meeting to order. We do have a quorum, we do need to adopt an agenda. Anybody have anything we need to add to the agenda this evening? Anybody? All right, well, it's a pleasure of the board.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
I second.
Motion's made and seconded, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. General public comment. General public comment. Any general public, nobody's watching us? Yeah, that's good. Any general public comment? All right, we're gonna do it several more times. Case number ZOA-06-04-2025-2, zoning ordinance amendment. The Madison County Code of Ordinances, Appendix 1 zoning, Appendix A site plan ordinance, and the Madison County Code of Ordinances, Appendix 2 subdivision ordinance require amendments to comply with Senate Bill 974. We were just having that's the description of the case. We were just having a discussion on whether passing the case number it takes care of A and B on our agenda. I think it does, but then again, just contrary to what this is doing, I think we should do public comments on every component of this whole thing. We're gonna do case.
Before a motion.
Yeah, before motions. And we act on them individually. I think that's probably overkill, but just because we don't like this and public comment is exceedingly valued in Madison, we're gonna do it 3 times. Anybody got any problem with that? Questions? All right. Mr. Nichols, anything to add that you didn't tell the Planning Commission?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions for Mr. Nichols or any of staff? Ian, please.
I would just say that the draft ordinance that we have is going to need to reflect the recent changes that Mr. Nichols described today.
Yes, sir.
So we may need a little bit of time to get those in proper electronic format before we actually sign it, but what's been passed up is the latest version.
The recommendation by the Planning Commission is the amended version that Mr. Nichols presented to them.
Most recent edited version,
Yes,
amended
sir.
version, what do you want to call it? Yes, sir.
Everybody good still? All right. To the public. To the public on case number ZOA-06-04-2025-2. Any public comment? All right, back to the board.
I tell you what, Mr. Chairman, this Senate bill, it taking the public out of the whole thing is what upsets me as much as anything. And I hope that this committee that is VACO heading this thing up. Yeah.
The other arm of this, Vice Chairman Yao, is House Bill 2660, and in that language, it establishes the work group that is supposed to report back to the General Assembly by November the 1st, 2025.
All right. Yeah, it's just wrong.
Yep. Yeah, please.
It essentially strips local control. And, you know, our senator and our delegate and the governor did localities a terrible disservice by approving this bill. either they didn't read it, they didn't think about it, or something else happened. But essentially now you're saying to citizens, you really have no input into how things are done in your county. The bad part about this is just the beginning. Many of the bills that came through the General Assembly this year that didn't go through, but will eventually go through, are going to continue to strip local control. Solar siting, renewable energy siting, data center siting, housing ratios. They'll require, someday they'll come in and say, okay, you've got to change your local policy so that you have so many low-income housing units. That's coming. And I think that what the Planning Commission, I will commend the Planning Commission and Mr. Nichols. They have done a fantastic job on this first phase. But as we know, the Planning Commission is working on the next ordinance change that will help to address some of the shortcomings of essentially giving developers a free range in localities. And we're looking forward to the final language on that. But it's going to be critical to hold developers accountable for coming in, making money, and then leaving the taxpayers with a long-term bill of providing public safety, public education. I honestly don't know what these people were thinking when they passed this bill. So anyway, that's just my comment. But thank the Planning Commission for what they've done and the work they're continuing to do.
Yeah. I think everybody is pretty disgusted by this in every way. And it is. It's taken away the people's voices. Is contrary to what anybody serving should be doing. It's just ridiculous. On case number ZOA, we do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, now let's do the ad hoc part of this. Ordinance 2025-7, the site plan component. Any questions for Mr. Nichols or Hannon or Jonathan? Anybody? Anything to add? No, Mr. Chairman. Yes, sir. To the public, this is just the site plan component. Anything? All right, back to the board. We do have ordinance 2025-7.
Yep. Move to approve ordinance 2025-7, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, ordinance 2025-8, which is the subdivision component of the case that we just passed. Questions from Mr. Nichols or staff? To the public. To the public. All right, back to the board. Ordinance 2025-8.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve ordinance 2025-8 to reflect the changes that were presented tonight and as recommended by the Planning Commission.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Discussion? I'm about to say discussion. And I am. All right. Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We don't have any old business. We do have new business, resolution 2025-14 to designate the agent. Mr. Weekly, do you have words on this?
I do not. I'll give a second for, thank you, Mr. Nichols. Again, this resolution, I believe, is what provides the designation that's been described in the Senate bill and the revisions that were just made in the ordinance, but the resolution is required so you can officially take action for your designee.
It gives you are our official designee, and then it gives direction that we think that the zoning and planning administrator will be the official designee under you.
And allows them to further delegate that.
Yes, sir. Anybody have any questions for staff on this? Do we have to do public hearing on this one? No, there you go. Comments, thoughts, questions? What would y'all like to do with resolution 2025-14?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Information and correspondence. We have a meeting next Tuesday. Discussion? Public comment?
That's what we say in public comment.
Okay.
We say what's behind this, the root of all evil, money. Well, it is what it is.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment.
Okay.
So, per my conversation with Mr. Prius, apparently out of the 4 counties, I've been the only one to make a phone call to him, reporting to him about this. And he suggested that if anybody doesn't like it, he will take all the phone calls he can take.
Thank you. Other public comment? Yes, ma'am.
I'll give it to you after the meeting.
All right.
I just think a lot of localities, it hasn't dawned on them what's happening. It's gonna catch them. I'm thankful that we have the staff and the planning commission that's taking a proactive approach.
I would assume a lot of counties have not really done anything on this, and Dillon rule kicks in, and it just part of law.
I think what, some of the feedback I've gotten in making inquiries is just, actually, a lot of counties have already made this a ministerial task for staff and have taken planning commissions out of the process. You know, I think it begs some of the bigger questions, what do you do in response to it? And, you know, it may be, it's a lot more things that are done through forcing rezoning or forcing SUPs to put that control back into it, but that's a different topic.
At the last regional commission, which is the 5 surrounding counties, pretty much it was Rappahannock and Madison that had to make this adjustment. As Hannah just stated, your larger localities such as Culpeper, Orange, they switched over, but they have larger staff and so forth. So this doesn't affect the other local government body here to town because they're under that population threshold. But it is unfortunate, but yes, that's what we learned. It's basically Madison and Rappahannock in this area needing to adjust.
Yes, sir.
And I'm not Mr. Nichols' agent, but it's certainly going to put more on him than what it's been.
Thankfully, we have the right people in place and that we can go to this pretty seamlessly. Unfortunate as it is. Any other public comment, just general comment, anybody? All right, what would y'all like to do? Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same